Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Jim from Jim Shaped Coding. First of all, congratulations for reaching episode 20. And as you already know, every 10 episodes, it's a great time to work with a nice exercise to practice what we learned until this point and train ourselves by using all the material we learned in the last 10 episodes in a real Python program. So let's get started. So we are going to write a program that is going to calculate a factorial of a number. And if you felt unconfident in the math classes, well, no more after this exercise. So what a factorial number is like an operation of multiplying multiple times. So if we ask someone what is the factorial of 2, the answer is 2 times 1. And for example, if we ask someone what is the factorial of 4, then the answer is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So basically, the factorial will multiply all whole numbers from our chosen number down to 1. So the exercise is just about it, and we are going to calculate a factorial of a number that is going to be accepted by an input function, and we are going to validate that the number is only between 1 to 10, and if it is less than 1, then we are going to display a message that it does not make sense to calculate a factorial of a number that is less than 1. And if it is higher than 10, then we are going to display a message that it is too big, since the calculation of it might take too long and we don't want that. And if the received input is valid, then it is our time to go to actually calculate the factorial of a number. And we have a bonus step. We want to insert each digit of the received result in an empty list. So as you know already, feel free to stop the video right here for whatever amount of time you want, and once you feel you've finished, continue to the solution to see that you've done well. So let's go to our PyCharm to resolve this. Alright everyone, so we know that we must start with an input function and actually accepting some input from the user and make sure that it is going to be an integer. And actually we've done that a lot in this series, so we will start with a variable called requested number and make sure that it is going to be equal to input. And before I forget, let's also wrap this with the int function. So we will just write here, choose a number from 1 to 10. Alright, and now actually here we want to start writing a nice if statement that is going to act differently regarding to what we received from the user's input. So we know that if requested number is less than 1, then we want to display a message that is going to say, for example, sorry, I can't calculate this number's factorial. Alright, so this is really simple until now, and actually now I want to write one more condition that in that condition I'm still not going to take any special action with the calculating factorial number because the number is going to be higher than 10. So I can go with else if statement here, and let's go back to this area so we get out of the indentation, and let's type in elif and also put here request the number is higher than 10. And now we can write a message here that is going to say this number is too big, choose a lower one, for example. Alright, and now we covered all the cases that is less than 1 and higher than 10, and because we covered the cases for a number that is less than 1 and higher than 10, it is pretty safe to write here the else. So we will cover all the cases that are not what we want, and now here we can start calculating a factorial of a number. So here I automatically start thinking about for loop, because it is pretty obvious that we want to take some action multiple times. And because we want to multiply all the whole numbers from the requested number down to 1 using the built-in range function could do some excellent job for me. So I will store the numbers down to 1 from the requested number in a list. And let's see how we can do this. So let's call this variable multiplying numbers is actually going to be equal to range. And now here I want to make a list of numbers that is going to start with requested number and it is going to go down until 1, and this is exactly why I will hit 0 here, because the last number is always not included, and our step is actually going to be -1, and we want to specify that. And you remember how we printed something like this? We did not receive actually a list of numbers from, for example, 3 to 1. So what we have to do is actually wrapping all the expression here by the built-in function called list. So this way I will get a list back when I try to work with this variable. And to prove my point, before we continue here, let's take a deep breath and stop and actually try to print what multiplying numbers is about, just for debugging reasons. And if I execute this, until now we only have an input, and let's say that I want to write 4 here, and you see how beautiful I get the result back. And before I continue, I just want to say that it is fine if you did the opposite operation, meaning that if you have generated a list that starts from 1 like this, and you put here as a stop number requested number +1 because the last number is not included, and done the step as 1, you see that I will get the same result. Let's just prove our point. So if we run this like this and put here 4 again, you see I still get the same numbers in a list, just in a different way, and that is also okay. So here is the exact point that I want to start with my for loop. So if I want to multiply the numbers in the list with each other, I can do that with just the for loop, because I can iterate on only one number at a time. So actually the idea here will make a variable outside of the for loop, and every time I iterate through some number, I want to multiply the number with the result and override its value. So after each run, the result will receive a new number that is multiplied. And if I do this until the last item of a list, I will actually achieve my goal, and this will really answer what factorial is about. So I will start with result is equal to 1 as a beginner, because this value is going to be overridden already, so this is fine for me. And now I can start off with my for loop and write something like for number in multiplying numbers. And now actually I want to override the result variable. So I can do something like result is equal to the previous result multiplied by the number we iterate on. So every time I get to reassign the result variable, and this will achieve the factorial. So in order to show you my point, what I can do before actually taking this action, I can print something like, just for debugging reasons, once again, I can write here, I am going to multiply result, alright, with number. Okay, so this way you will understand what is really happening behind the scenes. And now finally, I got out from the for loop, and here I can print something like the factorial of the requested number actually is the result. So let's try to run this, and let's make the bar here a little bigger so we can see what is going to happen. So if I run this, let's write 4 here as an example, and great. So see what happened. We got the I'm going to multiply 1 with 1, that is fine. And now we got I'm going to multiply 1 with 2, and right after that we got to multiply 2 with 3. But hey, 2 is equal to 1 times 2. So you see, this is actually how factorial works. And let's try to run this with 5, and I actually expect to get 120 because 24 times 5 is 120. And let's run this one more time as a test. Let's write 5 here, and beautiful, I get the result as 120. So here we want to go with the bonus, okay, that I actually talked about in the last step of this exercise. So here we want to collect each digit as itself and add it to some empty list. So we will start with something like digits list is equal to empty list. Now that makes sense because now we want to add some elements to that list. And let's say that we got the result, and here actually the problem will be to collect each digit by itself. So it is more safe to convert the result to a string, and then I have more control about what is inside of that string, so that I can iterate through this string and add each digit to this list. So you remember how we could iterate through characters of each list as I showed you in the last episode, and this is what I'm going to do right now. So I can take that string and iterate through it, and as I convert that to result, we can start actually put here our for statement. So we can go with something like 4 digit in this string of result. So this makes sense, and now what I can do is simply use the method of append, and this will add the digit to the empty list. So digits list dot append, and here I want to add each digit. So now I got what I wanted, and now if I finally will print the digits list, you see how I will get the list, and it is going to include the digits separated. So let's run this for one final time, and let's put a big number here so we can get a bigger result. Let's put 8. Awesome, so the result was actually this number, and you see how the last lines of code caused to this list to appear, and this is exactly what we wanted. So everyone, please let me know in the comment section how you felt with this exercise, especially if anyone felt unconfident, because I can help you with commenting you back, and it will make a huge difference for you before you move on to the next episodes. So I will see you in the next episode. Don't forget to crack the subscribe button and like this video. I will see you in episode 21.